Warm greetings and love, Brother Oji. It's great to connect again after all these years. Listen, I see the banana leaves swaying in the African breeze. I can hear the rooster crowing in the background, reminiscent of home. I can tell you're home. It feels like home. Africa for Africans. Indeed. Listen, without any further ado, congratulations, warm congratulations on your trip to Zanzibar, Tanzania, and on the successful screening of African Redemption, The Life and Legacy of Marcus Garvey, a film by your elder brother, Roy T. Anderson, narrated by Hollywood star Keith David. By any measure, this must be exciting. How was it for you?
First of all, I want to thank you for this interview. Zanzibar, I'm still on a high. Absolutely amazing experience. And we walked away with Best Documentary Award for African Redemption, The Life and Legacy of Marcus Garvey. We were well received, well loved. We loved the people loved us. Zanzibar, thank you.
In 1987 or so, you and others created an artistic vehicle, creative vehicle named MACPRI, Mother Africa's Children Photographic Reproductions International. I think that was what it was called at the time. This was in your prime of your youth as a young adult. And 35 years later, MACPRI is still going strong. How would you say your involvement with the Marcus Garvey documentary has added to the body of your work?
I think the Marcus Garvey documentary and participating in it is, in a way, a major fulfillment. Now, if MACPRI was started to create photographic visual images to promote African history and culture, and to start a revolution about how we see and organize ourselves as a people, images are very powerful, how we're seen in pictures, how we're seen on the screen. Here it is, a young boy decides to do photography, to teach our stories. His older brother comes on the scene, a Hollywood stuntman turned filmmaker, and decides to make a documentary about his younger brother's greatest hero, the Honorable Marcus Garvey. And I'm asked to participate in that as a liaison in Africa and also as a documentary photographer. There is the match. MACPRI, the documentary photographer, the brother, the leader Marcus Garvey. I am now carrying it that much further by getting the message and our stories to the streets about what we need to elevate ourselves as a people. And the images are there, and my brother's work is what has made it possible for me to take that work to the highest level so far.
Your first trip to Africa was in 1991, as I recall. And I think it's fair to say that you haven't looked back since. You've obviously made Africa your home. Ghana, West Africa, to be specific. This was your first trip to Zanzibar, Tanzania. And I'd like to ask you, how has this added to your understanding of PanAfricanism, which, as we know, is a key part of Marcus Garvey's vision? Have you learned anything new?
That's a very loaded question. What have I learned from my trip to East Africa, Zanzibar? First of all, you said 1991 was the first time I came to Africa. And indeed, I have never looked back. There's a song that goes, give me a one-way ticket. I want to go to Africa to live it. And you know the rest of the song. I'm still here. How has this added to my body of work? What have I learned about Pan-Africanism? Pan-Africanism for me is still the way to go. It was, the Honorable Peter Tosh says, wherever you go, as long as you are a black man, a black woman, you're an African. I was well received, we were well received in Zanzibar. The love was clear on both sides, on the side of the giver and on the receiver. I think the lesson learned is this, that if we're truly genuine and sincere as African people about what we want to accomplish, live it and love it, the people will follow. They will join ranks and want to be a part of the revolution.
By now, most people would be aware of a recently published biography of your life. I Am Brother Oji, Roots, Rock, Revolution of a Modern Nomad. A biography that recounts your life and times up until your early adulthood. There's a chapter in the book entitled, Look for Me in the Whirlwind, a take from Marcus Garvey's quotation, in which he says, and I quote, "Look for me in the whirlwind of the storm. Look for me in the whirlwind or the storm. Look for me all around you. For with God's grace I shall come and bring with me countless millions of Black slaves who have died in America and the West Indies, and the millions of Africa, and to aid you in the fight for liberty, freedom, and life." That is a very powerful statement. I believe you and others are a part of this whirlwind. What have you learned about Marcus Garvey's legacy through your involvement with this film? Anything new?
First of all, let me address the part about the whirlwind. When I first read that statement in the Philosophies and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, and I heard his famous speech, I didn't fully understand what he meant when he said, "Look for me in the whirlwind." Each time I engage with people who love the teachings of Marcus Garvey, and we take his teachings in our life one step forward, I begin to feel that wind a little bit more. And it blew, and it blew, and it continued to blow. And to this point, it is so significant to note that the whirlwind that Marcus Garvey spoke of wasn't an actual wind. It is the people who take his message, the people who take his message and carry it to the next stage. So I declared for the first time in Zanzibar at the International Film Festival that we are the whirlwind that Marcus Garvey is talking about. That is the lesson I walked away from Zanzibar with. And we will continue to blow across Africa and across the world until people hear the message and know that the leadership that Marcus Garvey gave us is one that can bring about positive change for us all over the world. Up, up, up.
Thank you, Brother Oji, for the time that we've had together. I really appreciate this interview. But finally, I must ask you this question. As your biographer, I've had the privilege and honor of watching you and your brother relate and work together. Your partnership has been exemplary. I've admired what you both have achieved singularly, but I've also been fascinated by what you've been able to do together. But you're so very different. Back in the 1990s, while you were protesting in Toronto streets, calling for racial justice and African liberation, your brother Tony was leaping from tall buildings as a stuntman. While you were on the ground, Tony was in the air. I'm curious to know, what was it like working together on this project, this film documentary together? And I'm sure others will be as well. Any thoughts?
Working with Roy, my senior brother, on the Africa redemption story, life and legacy of Marcus Garvey, is like a dream come true. Exciting, fantastic, beautiful. Here it is, two brothers coming together with their gifts and presenting it to the world. What more can you ask for? And I declared in Zanzibar that while Roy is the messenger, I am the message. And what I mean by that is, he is the storyteller. And he's telling the story about the life that I live as a follower of Marcus Garvey. What was it like working with Roy on this documentary? Absolutely fantastic, unbelievable, beautiful. Mama G, be proud of your two sons and this work that we have done together. All your children glorify you. But with Marcus Garvey documentary, we have taken it just one stage higher. We thank you.